Well, the start of the school year can be exciting, but for many students, it also brings a wave of worry, fear, and what ifs. And for some kids, it's more than just nerves. It's anxiety showing up even before the first bell rings.
So in today's Let's Talk, we are providing some simple steps to feel more in control when anxiety walks into the classroom. And joining us to walk us through those tips, Teresa Cameron, a counselor from Everyday Wellness who works very closely with students and families. Teresa, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You know, it's a big transition from summer back to the school year and back to that structure and discipline. Let's start with the basics. Help us understand the difference between regular stress and anxiety.
So anxiety is when your brain is asking what if questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
And stress would be your body's response to pressure or change.
Yeah,
Sure.
So you have that stress and you're responding to that pressure and change, but anxiety, you just are kind of overwhelmed with all the what ifs, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they can be overwhelming, you know, as you work it through different scenarios, especially new classroom, new situation, you know, what if I don't like my teacher? What if the classes are too difficult? You know, because those questions can really start to spiral.
Right, exactly. So that's one of the signs of anxiety is kids constantly asking what if questions. Another sign could be they have belly aches or a headache when a medical reason is not warranted. So yeah, but catching these signs early can make a huge difference for kids.
Well, and I think part of the reason we wanted to have this conversation also is to let kids and parents know that this is normal and it's also manageable.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. It is normal. It's part of every day, and it's nothing to be ashamed of.
Yeah, because, you know, sometimes maybe having those types of feelings can feel pretty isolating, or, you know, you wonder, is anyone else feeling like this? And I don't want to talk to anyone about this. So that stigma, as you mentioned, is just so important. What would you tell a student in terms of opening up?
I would say pick a trusted adult. Sometimes just being heard is enough. Another thing they can do is do deep belly breathing, where they breathe in through their nose and out their mouth. They can also take movement breaks, where they can get up and stretch or walk around. They can do things like that that help them, give them a sense of control.
Yeah, to kind of shift the focus, right, and take it off of that anxiety. What other things can we do as parents and even as teachers if they notice that a child or a student might be a little overwhelmed? What are some things that we can do to provide a little stabilization, some resilience and support?
Absolutely. So we all go through tough moments. The importance is to try to help that child through it and then recover and go through it. And what that may look like is if they feel like they failed in some way, just make that a teaching moment, asking yourself, like, what can I learn from this? Things like that.
That's
Yeah,
good.
all really important. And, you know, just the whole idea of even being there for a child, to let them know that, you know, not only are they seen, they're heard, and that we can walk through it together.
Correct. That's right. So yeah, having that support for them it can be huge.
Yeah, it'll make a big difference. You know, this is the other thing I thought about in just my casual observations without the expertise that you bring to the conversation. But anxiety presents itself differently in children oftentimes versus adults, right? Can you talk to us a little bit about those differences?
Sure. So some of the differences is they can have trouble sleeping, they have nightmares. Like I stated before, they have headaches or belly aches. Asking what if questions all the time. Those are key things that you can keep an eye on.
Yeah, always pretty important. And so when a child is anxious, what besides, you know, the breathing, I'm certain that there's probably some other things that they can do, and just ways that we can talk to our kids when they're going through a situation like this.
Yeah, you can be very relatable. Just as an adult, ask, hey, I noticed this, what's going on? To see if they open up to you, and just go from there.
Yeah, and if they don't open up initially, maybe take a little break, like you said, maybe drawing, journaling, another activity that kind of shift the focus, and then maybe come back to that question later.
Correct. Yeah,
They might be more comfortable and willing to open up.
Yeah, always huge. And so with emotional resilience, bouncing back from those hard moments, you know, isn't that what it's all about? Just teaching them that, you know, what you're seeing right now doesn't last.
Yes, that's right. And it's important just to have that emotional resilience and teaching that. It's even good for us as adults just to, you know, get through that tough moment.
Such great insight, Teresa. And you know what? We can't let you go without emphasizing sleep, the power of sleep.
Yes.
That is a game changer, right?
Yes. Sleep, we've been sprinkling it throughout this whole series, and it's very important. It gives our body time to reset, and kids need it to deal with the daily stress.
Yeah, they do. Having consistent wake up, go to bed times, and making sure they get enough sleep, especially those teenagers, makes a
Yes.
world of difference. Teresa, thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you all for having me.
Yeah,
You
of
bet.
course.
All right, we'll be back with plenty more after the break.